Good afternoon everybody, and a very warm welcome from Djuma, South Africa, and a special warm welcome to Fairfield and Diamond Springs, and we hope that you're going to have a wonderful time with us this afternoon. Remember that you can send through all of your questions through to your teacher, and your teacher will send them through to us. Now, I'm being naughty and I've forgotten to introduce myself. My name is Tristan. On camera today I've got VM the wildebeest, and we have a very, very special surprise for you, because over my right shoulder at the moment is my favorite animal, and it's sitting in the shade, busy panting because it is very, very hot. So Tingana, who is our male leopard, as that's his name, he's the big dominant male leopard in this particular area. He's managed to find himself a meal. Look, you see how he's looking into the tree? Now the reason he's looking into the tree is because there is an impala in the tree. So he managed to catch himself some food, probably during last night or even the night before, because he's eaten quite a bit and he's now taken it up into the tree where it's going to be kept safe from anything else like hyenas and lions and all of those kind of animals. He's very clever that he does that, and it's one of the things that leopards do very often to try and keep their kills safe from others. It really is the best thing to find, and we're lucky because as you guys came to us, because we had a few little technical issues, we just managed to find him, so we're super happy. And when I see a leopard, it makes me so excited, so I'm very, very glad that we managed to find one already so early in the afternoon. Now you'll notice that he's breathing very fast, so he's sitting there, his head is moving a lot, his mouth is open, and he's breathing very quickly. Now remember, if you are very hot, let's say that you've run and you ran for a long distance, you get hot and you get very tired, and what do you do then? Then you breathe quite heavily, and the reason why that happens is because moisture or water vapor that is on your mouth, or water that's on your mouth in the form of your saliva, that then as you breathe, the hot air causes evaporation, and it causes that water to turn into a gas and lift off the tongue, and that actually cools their tongue down, and it's basically like a little air conditioning system for this leopard, and that's how they're able to cope with very, very hot days in the South African bush, is that they're able to pant like this and also to find themselves shade. You see how he's put himself in a nice shady spot so that he can be really quite cool when there's hot weather about and there's a nice wind that's blowing, so it is the perfect place for a leopard to hide. And you can see, look at how good his camouflage is. He has really great camouflage. He's able to blend in those spots that he has all over his body, help to break up those outlines and make sure that he is almost invisible to the animals that he hunts. A leopard is an animal that is an ambush predator. It likes to only kind of sneak around and doesn't want to be seen anything, and so those spots help for it to blend in and make it very difficult for us to see them normally. They're also shy, reclusive animals. Luckily for us, this particular male is very relaxed and he allows us to get quite close to him, and that's why we're able to see them. And in fact, here in South Africa is one of the best places in the world to be able to see leopards, because of how relaxed they often are in our company. So really great way to start our afternoon, that's for sure. Now remember, you can ask any questions that you may have. I'm going to just reposition ourselves slightly because it is very hot in the sun and I don't want to get a sunburn, so I'm going to try and find some area where I can get a little bit of shade that's not as hot as where we are now. So just going to move a little bit through here and try and see if I can find a little bit of a better spot. Just got to go around that bush there. Ooh, VM, I don't know if there is much shade for us here. Maybe over here we'll get a bit of shade. Let's try. No, it doesn't look like much shade. But Justin, you're wondering why his eyes are closed. His eyes are closed, Justin, because he's very hot. So he's panting a lot, he's sleepy because he's had a really big meal. He's eaten a lot of food during the night, and now with the sun out, it makes him very tired. I don't know, Justin, if you have a lot to eat, then sometimes you feel a little bit tired afterwards. Well, I know I do. And so that's why his eyes are just closed. You'll probably find that he'll have a nice rest. So he's going to put his head down just now and have a little sleep before he'll then wake up tonight or around the sunset time, and that's when he's going to go up into the tree and start feeding. Right, now I'm going to sit with our leopard the whole afternoon because it's just the most wonderful animal, and while we do that, I believe my friend Jamie, who's all the way in the Masai Mara, has a beautiful spotted cat that is a lot taller than this one.
From from a spotted cat to a very tall spotted animal, a very good afternoon to all of you and welcome to the Sunset Safari, and actually one quite small spotted animal over there, but we'll talk about that in a second. My name is Jamie, and this afternoon Jahawi is on camera with me, and a special warm welcome to the kids joining us this afternoon. I hope you're all excited. You get to go on a safari from 2 different countries. So you've been in South Africa with Tristan, and now you're in Kenya with us, and we have a very cute little baby giraffe to show you. A very, very tiny baby giraffe. Although, with giraffe, everything's relative. So I say that he's tiny, but in fact he would be much, much taller than me if I were to go and stand next to it. But that would probably cause him to run away, and right now he's using his tongue to clean his nostril, which is great. You know, they always say picking your nose is bad. Oh, that's one way to do it, I suppose. So this is a young giraffe, probably only a couple of weeks old. And I think it's a boy. I think it's a male. Come on, little one, off you go. Catch up with your mum. Because it's only when it goes or walks next to its mother that you'll get an idea as to just how tiny it truly is. But isn't this beautiful? What a wonderful way to start the afternoon. There goes Mum. She's wandering towards the forest. Our mother giraffe often wander quite far from their little ones. Now, Rilani, you want to know why it is that their necks are so long. Why is a giraffe the way that it is? Why is its neck so long? Well, one possible explanation is because it allows it to eat the leaves of the trees right high up where other animals can't reach, but giraffe often eat low leaves, so they often bend their necks right forward. So it's not really just about that. And the reason that giraffe have long necks is thought to be due to fighting. Now, when a male wants to mate with a female and he sees another male, they might have a fight. And when they fight, the way that they fight is to swing their heads round and hit each other on the side or the neck or the bottom, wherever it happens to be. So they swing around and hit each other like that. Now, the longer their necks are, the stronger or the harder they'll be able to hit their rival. So lots of animals out here have to fight in order to be able to mate with a female. And the reason that nature does things that way is it is the strongest male, usually, that gets to pass on his genes. So that's one of the explanations as to why giraffe have such long necks. It's for fighting with other giraffe, and the longer it is, the stronger it makes their hits, the harder they can hit. Now, Trinity, you want to know why does it swing its tail? Well, out here there are all sorts of insects that bite. Things like flies, there's horseflies that bite the skin and they draw blood, or just irritate the giraffe's skin. So the giraffe's tail acts like a fly swatter. That's why. So basically what it's doing is every now and again it's swishing its tail to get rid of the flies. Here we go. It's like having an inbuilt fly swatter. That's what it's doing. Every time it feels a little tickle on its skin. Yes, little one. Off you go into the forest. I heard the lions calling from round here last night. So you keep nice and close to Mom and you keep safe. Okay. We need to move on. We need to get going. We're going to be out here all night, so we need to go and find something to stay all night with before it gets too dark. Okay, we're going to go trundling off. It's not just myself out here trundling about in the Masai Mara. I said we're going out all night. There's another person going out all night. Her name is Taylor.
Hear me now, Megan? Comms test, comms test. Sorry everybody about that. A little bit of gremlins this afternoon. So I was just telling you that you had seen the tallest animal with Jamie, and now you have seen the African buffalo, which is one of the big 5 that everybody comes out on safari to see. But my name is Taylor, and on camera with me today is Manu, and like Jamie said, we're also going to be staying out for a long time. So it's very exciting to spend, well, we don't quite have 45 minutes left with you, but we've got a little bit of time, and hopefully we'll find some more. But let's have a closer look at these buffalo, because they've been quite interesting. Don't you think? They're all crowded around some mud. Now I'm sure you're wondering, what on earth are those buffalo doing? And what they're doing now is trying to keep nice and cool. That one has had a big mud bath, as you can see, covering themselves with lots and lots of mud, and it's been very hot here today, so that'll help cool themselves down. And then, just like you saw the giraffe swishing its tail around, trying to chase away the flies and anything else that tries to bite them, the mud also forms a protective layer on their skin. As you can see, the insects are still bothering them as they're twitching their ears and using their horns to scratch themselves where they're itchy. But these are very dangerous animals, so even though they look so calm and pleasant now, you can imagine if you were to encounter one of these in the dark of the night, or even just down a very, very narrow pathway, you would get yourself into a little bit of trouble. So you must be careful of the African buffalo. They haven't got the nicest temper. You wouldn't want to have a cup of tea with them. You'd maybe want to have a cup of tea with giraffe rather. But these are all boys, and the reason why I can tell that they're boys, though it's quite difficult now because their horns are so covered in mud, but if you look at their heads, their horns have no sort of gap, so it's almost like they're wearing a big helmet. Can you see that? We call that area a boss. And when the females, so the girl buffaloes, they don't have such big horns. They've got horns more like cows, like what you would see in a paddock somewhere. And then of course they're much bigger than the girls as well. And they typically like to hang in groups like this, just the boys. It's normally when they get a little bit older and can't quite keep up with the herds, because they live in huge herds, big families, aunts and uncles and cousins and grandparents, you name it, they're all living in that herd, and they'll look out for one another. But sometimes they move a bit too quickly for these older boys, and you don't want to be out here on your own. It's very, very dangerous to be just by yourself. So then they find some other buffalo who are in a same situation, and then they join up, and then they're friends with one another, and then they have mud baths and they eat grass, all those exciting things. Now, so now you're wondering why their ears swing. It's exactly the reason why Jamie was telling you about why a giraffe's tail swings. And like I mentioned just now, it's to try and keep away the flies. And they're twitching them because the flies are probably biting their ears at the moment, or even just moving around their eyes. You see their ears are long enough that they can actually flap them forward. And flies like to go for moisture, so they like to sit on the eyes. You can see the flies flying around the nose, and it's probably annoying them quite a bit. And also, a lot of insects will try and get some nutrients from the mud, so they'll be sitting on them actually a little bit more. Sometimes I think maybe mud is not a good thing to try and keep the insects away. It does suffocate them though, so it might not stop the flies, but what it does do is it will kill the ticks. So the ticks are little insects that actually suck blood, so they'll be biting onto that thick skin of the buffalo. And then if they sit in the water for long enough, they of course will end up drowning, and then the mud suffocates them, and then they'll go and have a scratch on a tree, on a stump, or a rock, or a sign, or something that they can find out here, because they don't have hands like you and I. They can't just scratch their backs. They have to use nature to sort of rub their bodies on those types of things. And that one's decided he's not going to let the flies bother him. He's just going to eat grass now. Isn't that delicious? And they can eat lots and lots of grass. They'll eat all day long. Although buffalo like to have siestas. They like to sleep at night, late in the evening, just before the sun comes up, and they normally around midday they have to stop for a siesta. Whether it's when they're in a pool of mud, or they're just sitting out in the open or under the shade of a tree, but they will have a siesta. There's lots of buffalo in there, but that mud wallow is so deep you can't really even see them anymore. Let's count. 1, 2. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, there might be a sixth one there. 6, 7, and then 8. I think there could actually even be No, there's only eight buffalo here. Sure, that's a lot. Now, even if you were walking, you might not see them if they're all sitting down in that mud wallow, which can be a little bit dangerous too. And the fact that they're rolling around now, that area that they're sitting in is just going to get deeper and deeper and deeper. And that's how mud wallows are created. Normally it's something like an elephant that's gone walking around on wet grass, and because they're so heavy, they will sink down into the grass and create a huge footprint, and then that fills up with water, and then something like a warthog comes around. A warthog gets in and he wiggles about and tries to get all covered in mud and enjoys the cooling effect, and then eventually buffalo will come, you name it. They'll all start rolling around, and the more and more you move around, the deeper that puddle is going to get and the wider it's going to get too, and then you create these big areas. And not just the buffalo will live in them, and they've created an entire little ecosystem. So what that means is that when it's got water in, you might find birds like ducks or geese swimming around in there. You'll find frogs, maybe even the odd fish if there's water in there for long enough, and some eggs have been transferred. Lots of insects, as we can see now. So it's very important. But my friend in South Africa, his name is Scott, and you'll be very excited to meet him because he's got another of the big 5 animals on foot.
And then if you move one step to the left, you'll also get the other one, maybe. Yeah. Hello everyone, and welcome on the bushwalk here in the Sabi Sands. My name's Lots. I'm teamed up with Dave on camera, and we've also got Herbie, an expert tracker, along with us to be an extra help with eyes and ears. We are trying to do our best to creep up to 3 big elephant bulls, one of which, let me see if I can open a little window there for you. 2 of them are together over there. And the third one, you might actually be able to see quite nicely now, Dave, is off to the right. And we're just waiting for the conditions to get a little bit better for us to creep up a little bit closer towards them. At the moment, the wind is in our favor. It's blowing from our right to our left, and they've slowly been making their way from our left to our right. So at the moment, they're definitely not going to be able to smell us. They also won't be able to see us very easily because we've positioned ourselves in the shade. Let me just show you with my ash bag. You can see how the wind's blowing away from the elephants. And it's really, really good situation that we found ourselves in to leave camp and come across 3 beautiful elephant bulls that we can try and slowly do an approach on as the afternoon unfolds. It's an absolute blessing in disguise. It's a very hot afternoon here. So the less we have to move around, the luckier we are. And elephant bulls are certainly one of the most exciting animals to approach on foot. Now, it's important to remember that it is dangerous being on foot. It's a lot more dangerous than being in the vehicle. However, it is also easier for us to go undetected. Because we can move silently, they won't necessarily hear us coming. And because we're small, we can hide from them. And what that means is we can get close to them and view them going about their daily business with them having no idea that we're here. So that is our fundamental goal. We don't want to let them know that we're here, because elephants sometimes can be bullies, and because we're much smaller than them, it's easy for them to bully us. Now, I don't want to rush things and blow this great opportunity to try and creep up to them a little bit later on. So we're just going to wait patiently for the ultimate situation to present itself to us. They could walk past an area with thick cover, maybe a termite mound that we can climb up onto, a safe vantage point. So those are our plans, to just sit and wait patiently with them. It sounds like you guys have got off to a wonderful safari. Tristan's found that male leopard with a kill, Jamie and the giraffes. And Dave, if you just bend down a little bit here, we might be able to get some good views of this one individual that's in the front. He's just through there now, and you should be able to see some good views of him. He seems to be the smallest of the three bulls, and the other two are definitely bigger. So hopefully, if we're a little bit patient, we will be able to get you some better views of them. In the meantime, it sounds like Tristan has got you some great views of Tingana the leopard.
I have a very, very good view of him. We've repositioned ourselves, and he's rolled over and moved a little bit, and he's now lying right next to us. You can see, we can get all the detail, his eyes and his mouth, and you can see, look how much of saliva is coming out of that mouth with him panting the way that he is. There's lots of saliva that is starting to come out, and that's what I was talking about earlier when I was saying that it'll cool this animal down. Is that saliva, that stuff that is running out of his mouth, is going to be getting evaporated by the hot air, and you're going to find a situation where it's going to cool his tongue down. But how cool is that to see? Look at those beautiful big canines. So those teeth that you see there, those are there to try and help kill animals. So when they're trying to grab their prey like an impala, they're going to grab it with those, and it's going to help squash the windpipe. Now, you see he's just looking around. There are some other cars in this particular area that are just coming into view, and these are people that have come all the way out to South Africa to come and see these animals. So they've gone on the aeroplane all the way across, and they are lucky enough to come and see this leopard in real life. And you can see his ears are just going back a little bit, so even though he might not look at where that vehicle came from, his ears will move a little bit. He'll listen to all the sounds. A leopard is an amazing animal. Like most of the cats, it has very good sense of hearing, amazing sense of sight, and a very good sense of smell as well. So it uses all of those to be able to find animals, including, if you look around his face, he's got very long whiskers. Now, for those of you that have had a dog or a cat, you'll know that they have whiskers, and this helps these guys when it's dark in the night. Now, unfortunately, I'm really battling to hear any of the questions that are coming through. It's all broken up, but he's going to yawn a little bit. I wonder if he maybe is going to move. You see he's just licking his mouth a little bit to be able to get rid of any of that saliva that's hanging. It will be uncomfortable for him. There's also a bit of a sneeze, and the reason why he's sneezing is because there's a number of insects around, in particular what we call a mopani bee or a stingless bee. It's a tiny little insect, and today they have been everywhere. We've been out working on the cars today a little bit, and they were around us the whole day. Now, these tiny little bees, they like moisture, and so what they'll do is they'll often go towards where his nose is, and they go and they try and get the moisture from his nose, including other things like biting flies, and so it irritates him a little bit, and you'll find every now and then he'll sneeze, or he'll shake his head, or he'll twitch his ear or twitch his mouth, and that's to try and get rid of them. Also, he's trying to get rid of all of that stuff that was hanging down. He's done a pretty good job of it, actually. He's managed to get rid of everything that was drooling out there at one point. What have you seen, boy? Now he's looking around also because he knows when he's got a kill that there's potentially a bit of a scent that drifts around, so he's got to be careful of things like hyenas and leopards and lions that potentially might come into this area. So you'll find he'll look around and listen to the wind quite carefully. Megan, I'm sorry, unfortunately I cannot hear a word that you're saying. It's very broken up, so I don't think we're going to be able to do too many questions at the moment. Kaylin, apparently you're wondering if these leopards eat leaves. So no, unfortunately not. These guys are meat eaters. They will survive off eating all kinds of animals, so mostly small to medium-sized antelope, so something like a deer, or in this case an impala that is up in the tree, or they'll eat smaller things like little scrub hares, which are like rabbits. They'll eat sometimes birds, lizards, lots of those kind of things, but unfortunately not leaves. The reason why is because their stomach is not designed for it. Their dental structure, so their teeth, are also not designed to be able to crunch down grass and to flatten leaves and smush them all like a big elephant like Scott has got. Those are different sets of teeth, and Taylor's got the buffalo as well. They also have these flatter teeth that cut pieces of grass up, and they're able to then swallow and digest it, whereas this leopard has very sharp pointy teeth, so that it acts like a knife or a pair of scissors and can cut little chunks of meat off, and it can eat meat instead of anything else. So they survive only on meat. You'll find sometimes though they will eat a bit of grass, and that's if they've had a situation where their stomach, they've got a few things that are not really digesting very well, and so sometimes they'll go and eat a bit of grass, and it can cause them to get a little bit sick, and they then regurgitate or vomit this sort of hair and bone and bits that are not digesting well, and that then comes out, and they'll feel a lot better about it later. Now I think he's going to have a bit of a nap just now. I think we're going to have a situation where he's probably going to sit in the shade like this for quite some time, and I wouldn't be surprised if his head goes down now that everybody is settled down and the vehicles are here. You can find they might fall asleep, and from there he'll then get up and go. But while we sit with him and see whether or not he's going to go up into the tree and maybe go have a little feed. Now unfortunately I can't turn the other way because otherwise he might eat my legs, so while we sit here and wait for him to do that, let's go across to my friend Brent all the way in the Masai Mara and see what he's up to and where he's bumbling to.
Well, hello, and welcome to another gorgeous day in the Masai Mara. My name is Brent Leo Smith. I have Craig, also better known as the Batman, on camera. And we are heading out on an all-night adventure. I'm going to head right down south towards the Tanzanian boundary. But while we meander, we come across so much wonderful stuff in the Mara, including elephants. And we've got a female and a sub-adult there, but there's the rest of the herd in the trees off to the right. But isn't this wonderful? Beautiful golden afternoon light, and an elephant having some grass. Now, elephants really do like good green grass. Nice and... Ooh. Are you picking that up, Craig? I can hear the elephants talking. They're talking to each other. So those elephants that we're looking at now are making this very low rumble. And I would say she's talking to the other elephants that are coming out of the forest to the right of where she is. There we go, a little bit more to the right there, Craig. There we go. They've just appeared out of the forest. So it's not uncommon for herds of elephants to split up while they're feeding. Now, Seigel is wondering, why do they have tusks? Well, Seigel, it's a special adaptation elephants have, and the females will use them for mostly... Oh, she's got a very interesting tusk, actually, that female way back there. Mostly for stripping bark off trees. Sometimes it helps them when they're getting grass. They will use them for defense as well, in fighting amongst each other. But the males, the main reason males have tusks is for fighting, so they can fight for girlfriends. Well, Serenity is wondering, why do they swing their trunks? Well, Serenity, I don't think there's any particular reason. Their trunks are very, very useful. It's like an extra, it's like a hand. They're able to pick stuff up with it, and it's just long and dangly. So I think when they walk, it swings to a degree. The same way our arms swing when we walk. There are thousands and thousands of muscles in an elephant's trunk. Oh, Douglas, that's a good question. Very good question. How do elephants talk? Douglas, elephants have a lot of different sounds that they make when they're communicating with each other. And some of them are of such a low frequency, we cannot hear them with our ears. Our hearing is not good enough. But the ones we can hear are sometimes the low rumbles that I was talking about, that I heard in the beginning, that sound like that. Then they can trumpet, they can scream, they can roar even. So elephants have a really big vocal range. And the more time you spend with elephants and watching their behavior as at the same time, you can decipher certain of the sounds, but not all of them. lovely ellies. I'm just going to move a bit further down the road to the ones that are coming out of the forest. It looks like they might have been swimming in the river as well. But that's the joy about being out here and being live. You never know what's going to happen next. So there's a little road that's much closer to those elephants, so I'm just going to loop round onto that so we can have a closer look at them. Amy is wondering, do they have to eat every day? Yes, Amy, and they have to eat a lot of food every day. On average, a big male elephant can eat up to sort of 200 kilograms, which is over 400 pounds of food in a day, and they can drink 200 liters of water, which I think is about 100 liters of water, more or less, not 200 liters of water, which is, I don't know how to work out in gallons, I'm sorry. Oh no, they're running away from the road. But I said I could see they'd been swimming, and they definitely have. You can see they're much darker when we get closer than the ones that haven't been swimming yet. There we go. So they obviously went for a swim in the Mara River, which is just beyond that forest they were looking at, or they came from. And there you can see how dark they are from being wet. And the front female, you can see she's quite big, so she didn't go all the way under the water. Now they're going to head out into the grassland for a night of grazing. So as you're asking that elephants need to eat every day, they actually eat almost all day and all night. They don't sleep much at all. They have little naps, but they don't sleep much at all. They've got to keep eating to feed that massive frame. Now, a big female like that one there will weigh around 3.5 tons. So very, very heavy. Heather is wondering, how big can elephants get? Well, a big male can get up to about 6 tons, but the largest body-sized elephant ever recorded was 10 tons, 10,000 kilograms, well over 20,000 pounds. But while those ellies move off to go find where they're going to feed for the night, I'm going to keep heading down to the south because I feel like finding some lions or leopards or cheetahs today. Okay, now we're getting to the best time of the day to look for the big cats. As the sun starts to get cooler, they start to move, so hopefully we'll be lucky enough to find some. Now, we've just had a very good look at some elephants that have been swimming in the Masai Mara, but unbelievably, all the way down in South Africa, my very good friend Scott is walking with elephants.
Welcome back, and we are steadily approaching closer to 2 elephant bulls. There initially were 3 of them. One of them seems to have split off, and the other 2 bigger ones have changed direction. So we've looped around. We've got the wind in our favor. It's blowing quite strongly. You can hardly even see the ash being blown away. It's getting blown away so quickly. So things are looking good. Welcome to everyone who has just joined us on Facebook. We've got a very, very exciting situation unfolding here. We are on foot in the Sabi sands in South Africa, and we are creeping up to two very large elephant bulls. Now if you come forward a little bit into this little gap, we'll be able to show you at least an initial view of one. We're trying to keep as much cover between them and us so that they don't see us. And on a windy afternoon like this, the leaves blowing in the wind will help mask our movements as well. So we've got an incredibly good situation here for us to be able to try and do an approach to these potentially dangerous animals. Of course, if they've got no idea we're here, we are in no danger at all. So that is our goal, to go about viewing them totally undetected. Now what I would like to do is just possibly creep us forward into a little bit of shade, continually checking the wind. It's blowing towards us, so away from that elephant. There is another one behind him, and it's always very important when on foot to not lose track and only focus on the one animal you're following, because other animals, another herd of elephants, could come in onto the scene. How cool is this? Now, the reason why I've chosen this spot is because there's cover, and as well as the fact that we'll be moving in shade, and if we move in shade, we've got less chance of being detected. What we do have to be cautious of is, of course, if it continues to feed towards us, we will need to move out of its way. But if it moves on the right side of us, on our right-hand side, it won't be able to smell us nor see us. So that is very good prospects, and let's hope they decide to do just that. What I'd like to do now is just creep down on the floor here. Come and join me, and we'll be able to get you guys some better views of him. Now, he's a big bull, probably around 5 or 6 tons. He's got fairly decent ivory, and you'll notice that their skin is wet, and he's just had a nice mud wallow at one of the water holes nearby to cool down. It's a very hot afternoon here in the Sabi Sands, probably around 35 degrees Celsius. Now you'll be getting some great views of his very impressive ivory. And isn't this wonderful? Just watch this guy feeding, completely unaware of our presence. We're probably about 50 meters away from him at the moment, so not hugely close. We could get closer if the situation allows for it, but we certainly do not want to push it unnecessarily and give these elephants a reason to charge us. Hi Heather, it's wonderful to have you with us. You'd like to know why is it that elephants have these massive ears? Well, it's not hearing, Heather. Their ear holes on that little crease that you can see at the top of its ear. And unlike our ears, that creates a satellite dish shape around our ear hole, you can see the elephant's ear is completely flat. And on the back side of that ear, they've got a network of veins and arteries as thick as hose pipes, which they use to pump liters and liters of blood through their ears, essentially acting like radiators to keep their blood cool and therefore allow them to feed during the hotter hours of the day, which they really do need to do because, as Brent was saying a little bit earlier, they do feed on a lot of vegetation every day. These guys could be feeding on as much as 240 kilograms of vegetation every day, so they can't afford to relax too much in the heat of the day. Hi Peter, you'd like to know where I think these elephants are going. At this stage they've been moving very slowly, and who knows what their plans are. They're not territorial animals, so they've got no territories to check or patrol. All they're really interested in is making sure that their belly is full. And at this time of the year, Peter, there's so much food around. It's the lush summer. We've been getting rain here for the last 2 months, and as you can see, most of the vegetation is green, lots of green grass popping up. But this area has been experiencing a drought over the last 2 or 3 years, so there's definitely more vegetation to come once we get a little bit more rainfall, hopefully. Okay, now it looks like he's coming straight towards us. So what I want to do is creep back and try and get you guys a different angle. I've got a feeling he might head to a marula tree. I'm not sure if it's actually got any fruit in at the moment. whether it's a male or a female. Just using my binoculars to have a check. It looks like it could be a male marula tree, so no fruits on it for it to feed on, but it might want to go and feed on all the little saplings that are popping up below it. So let's move back a bit and work out where our next best spot is to spy on this big beast. Now, it must be said, Dave, who's operating the camera, has got a big backpack on with all the broadcasting equipment, a long antenna pole sticking up off the back of it, and a few cables attached to him, so he occasionally gets snagged in the bushes like he just did. He's also, stop there, Dave. He's also managed to get, maybe come back on the side of me, he's also managed to get a spider web on the lens. Let me see if I can get that off. There we go. Okay. Now, where do we want to go? Tricky business. What I think we need to actually do is go back into the spot where we were. It's a nice shady spot, and he will actually pop out eventually. And one of the things that I've learned spending time on foot in Africa is that you must always err on the side of caution. Don't take any chances. And that's exactly what we're doing here. We're just taking our time to get you guys the best possible view. What I want to do, Dave, is just sneak along the side here a little bit. Try and stay in the shade. Now I just want to give it a minute or two, because I'm guessing we're going to get you guys some great views of him as he moves much closer towards us. But I'm confident he's going to continue on a trajectory that moves him away from us. And as soon as we've got you one last good view of him, I think we're going to make our way out of this area. He's about to pop out, so hopefully if he doesn't find any snacks, he'll pop into view shortly. He's just stopped on that bush. Here he comes. We're going to get some great views of him now. Or has he gone behind another bush? Looks like he's going straight through the other bush. Where has he gone? Okay, well, you can just see his trunk there. And I think what we're going to do is slowly make our way out of the sightseeing. We've had a great time with him, but we don't want to overstay our welcome. So thanks to everyone who joined us on Facebook, and thanks to the group of school children that also joined us this afternoon. We'll see you next time. So I'm guessing the little thing where we had to keep quiet for 30 seconds after Facebook Live is no longer. So to all of you who are still with us, thanks for hanging around. And I think you guys are going to get some great views now of him as he pops out of that thick bush. Come here a bit, Davy. If you stand to the left. Okay. Good. Well, we're going to maybe wait here. We are in a favorable position for the time being. And while we wait for him to pop up, we're going to send you back to Tristan.
Well, a warm welcome back to all of our regular viewers. Remember that you can get hold of us on #SafariLive or YouTube chat if you want to ask any questions. Tingana is still having a really long, very powerful kind of panting session. He looks so uncomfortable at the moment. He doesn't look like he's very happy at all. He's been quite grumpy with a few flies that have been flying around. Every now and then he's snapping and growling at them, and he's not exactly a happy boy with this heat. But it is cooling down quite a bit now. Now that we're in the shade, there seems to be this cool wind that is blowing, and I think Tingana is going to be a lot happier when the sun gets down just a little bit lower. The only problem is he's about to get himself into quite a lot of sunshine, because the only shade is the form of this big marula that we're sitting under at the moment. And if you look on his right shoulder, you can see the sun is actually starting to hit him directly on that shoulder, and I think that as that sun comes a little lower, it's going to get too hot for him there, and he's going to find that he's going to move off and try and find some shade. Now, where I want him to go is to my left hand side, because there is a massive termite mound just to my left here. That is a perfect place, and if he sits up there, we're going to have the most magical afternoon with Tingana, because the light there is going to be absolutely perfect. Now, the reason why I'm sitting in a very awkward position is because I can't get my legs out, because I have a branch right here, and well, Tingana is also staring at me rather intently, and so I'm not going to be able to sort of swing that way, so I have to kind of put my back to him at this stage. But Wade, you're wondering if leopards would hunt large animals like rhinos or buffaloes or even elephants. So in my time here in the Sabi Sands, I have seen Tingana bring down a few baby buffalo. I've seen him also actually, I don't know whether he killed it, but he was seen following a very emaciated, very doddery old male buffalo in the drought last year, which the next morning we found him actually eating, and so I don't know whether it died of natural causes or he killed it, but that would be a bit extreme, as to kill one of those bull buffaloes really takes a lot of energy. So I think it would only be in a situation where you have drought like that. But baby buffalo, for sure, that's fair game for a male leopard. I've seen them also take baby elephants, and I've seen them take baby rhinos. Beyond that, no. So they won't go after sub-adults or even adults of those three, because they just get far too big for them and too strong, and the leopard is not able then to deal with that. And it's also, the risk is so huge for an animal that doesn't have a pride and can't rely on other animals to help with being able to feed itself. There is no point in going after those animals. It really makes life a lot more difficult. They could get really badly injured, and so at the end of the day, it's better for him to go after things like impalas, like what he's caught here, because a female impala that is not going to offer nearly as much resistance, but yet is still a great meal for him, is a far better bet than going after something like a buffalo or a rhino or elephant or any of those kind of things. Funny enough, though, I have seen Tingana on a giraffe carcass, so I've seen him hunting. Well, basically hunted and killed a giraffe that was fairly large. I've got a photo somewhere of it where he was feeding off of the giraffe, and you can actually get a sort of sense of the size. I'll try and find it quickly. I think I've got it here somewhere. So let me just have a look. It will be quite a while ago. But it's amazing how big that giraffe was, and the fact that he managed to bring it down was pretty impressive. The thing is, though, as he gets a little bit older and as he starts to kind of get to the point where he's not going to be able to move as fast or be as strong and as powerful, pulling things like that down is going to get harder and harder and harder, and he's going to have a situation where he's going to really struggle to be able to actually pull down a large animal of that size. Right. I'm going to sit here with Tingana probably the whole afternoon. There's a breeze blowing, it's a beautiful day. He's sitting here. The chance of him climbing this magnificent marula is very high. And so while I sit here, I believe James Henry, who has found himself in a new location on a new type of set for the TV shows that are coming up.
I have indeed found myself with a new kind of set. We have got some elephants and we've got lots of toys on this vehicle to show you. We're about to be well investigated closely by a young elephant bull. I'm not going to move the car. Fergus is on camera today. I could even, he's so close I might have put the microscope on him to see what his skin looks like. We will show them to you. The rest of the herd is just in here, looking very relaxed indeed. Now, we've deployed Ronald the rover from this very vehicle. Unfortunately, at the moment, I do not have a picture from him. I think his camera is off. But what I would very much like to do is just lean off the car here, quietly. That's a big car coming up. What I'm going to do, everyone, is just shift slightly forward, because I think these chaps want to come down here and drink. She all right there? Unfortunately, I've got a breakup of communications there, Megan. I'm just going to slide forward. Ronald, I have a small problem because Ronald is on the ground here. Alright, let's just wait for her actually. I'm sorry, my dear, I didn't mean to get in your way like this. You weren't up here when I got here. I don't think you should be cross with me. It really is not my fault, it's yours. Now this other one is sitting right here next to us. I've got 150 different things going on this vehicle, so I'm going to plug in my other earpiece because I think the handheld radio is not working quite like it should. And then I'll be able to hear any questions or comments you might have. Hashtag Safari Live, questions and comments in the YouTube chat stream, etc, etc. Oh dear. Okay, I'm ready for any further questions. Take that one out of my ear. That's where the elephant is. And Ronald is just below my right elbow there that you can see. Hello Wade, you're wondering if elephants prefer the forest or the plains? Wade, elephants are fairly ambivalent, I think. I'm just trying to get Ronald without making myself too obvious. Here, Ronald. Ronald, not Ronald, what's your name? Wade, sorry. Wade, they occur in forest and plain, and they prefer anywhere where they can get sufficient food. They don't occur in true forest, though, so they would prefer to have mixed feeding in woodland and grassland. I'm just going to lean over here, turn on his camera. Okay, done. Now, Ronald, for those of you who don't know, and I'm not sure how many of you there are, there's the baby hippo. Ronald is a rover, and he gets a sort of mongoose eye view of things. Now, I'm just going to see if we have a picture from him. No, we do not yet have a picture from him, which is a bit irritating. We may need to reset something. Anyway, there is a beautiful hippopotamus with her tiny baby. We've watched them for some time, over the last month or so, or a few weeks actually. Another elephant behind us. Oh, it would be so wonderful if we had Ronald's feed. Oh, there we go. We've got it. Can we go to Ronald's feed at all? Is that possible? Final control, is it possible to go to Ronald's feed? Ronald is mobile. Ah, we're on Ronald's feed. Now, it is freezing a little bit, but you can see he is moving towards the elephants. Now, as I've said many times before, the idea behind Ronald is not to give anyone a fright. We just want to get a different perspective of the wild. But we don't really know what his limits are yet. Now, for those of you who haven't watched Ronald before, he has been kicked into the water before by an elephant. So we're going to try and avoid that situation today. I just want to motor slowly along here and see if we can't get a view of them drinking. Now, if this picture does freeze up, I'm sorry. I know Jared said he did want to fiddle with a few technical things to do with it. But at the moment, it seems to be working very nicely. So I think we'll just carry on doing what we're doing. There we go. Isn't this fun? And when he's far enough in front of us, I'll get Fergus to show you what he looks like. We haven't disguised him today. Scott gave him a very nice disguise yesterday, but we've had to dispense with that for the moment. We will put it back on. Alright. Okay, now we can get Ronald in picture. We can swap to him while he tries to get another view of the elephants. There is Ronald. You can see him out on his own, exposed to the elements, and most importantly the elephants. Now what we'll do is we'll turn him round. Now we've got a question about whether or not there are crocodiles in this water. There are crocodiles, and we're hoping to get Ronald quite close to them. Sorry about this freeze up in picture. It just takes a little while if we drive too fast. He doesn't seem to like it too much. What I want to do is just get to the end of... I just want to go to the end of the of the wall here and peer over with Ronald. What I don't want to do, of course, is drive over the edge. So there are crocodiles in here, but we haven't seen one today. There are normally 2 crocs or so. Yes, I don't know that we're going to get... Oh, we might. Might get a bit of a view there. Can you see anything, Fergus? I think the picture's... No, it hasn't frozen. That looks quite scary, doesn't it? Oh, there's elephants. Whoa! Those elephants. Those elephants are not far behind. There are the elephants I'm trying to look at with Ronald. You can see. Isn't that cool? Alrighty, we're going to keep trying to get Ronald into a good position, and eventually we will show you the microscope. We have a mobile microscope which looks like some kind of really fairly intimidating medical device. We won't use it for anything like that. Let's go back to Noel, who apparently is also with some water.
So we've been scouring high and low. We had some ellies, but they went over into Little Gowrie, and then we've had a few gremlins. And so because of the heat of the day, we've decided to park off here at Treehouse Dam and see if anything comes our way to possibly have a drink. We had some wonderful swallows earlier that were coming down for a drink of water, and we've got our cheeky little hippo that's found his little residency here, but he's still only just poking his little nose up every now and then. There's a wonderful it looks like a thickney that's come down to the water's edge. There's the ripples from the hippo, and then just to our left, Sens, right left of where that hippo is, there we go. We've got a little water thickney that's come down. Now, usually, we only really see thickney sort of in the cool of the afternoon or early morning or at night, but I'm guessing with the heat, this little thickney has come out from its shade and its rest just to have a drink of water, so it has to sort of cool himself down, as it were. Remember that birds and also a lot of the mammals that we see out here don't have sweat glands like we do, so they have to do things like pant. Sometimes the birds will sort of hold their mouths open a little bit, and then they sort of take their throats up and down. Ooh, there's the partner there, and another one. And we're having a little bit of a showdown with these thickneys. Used to be called dickops, so a thick knee is a thick knee, but that thick part of their leg that you see actually isn't the knee, it's the ankle. And then a dickop is a thick head, dick being thick and kop being head in Afrikaans. So thick head, oh, that one's just drinking there. If we watch very closely, they might just do that throat thing I was talking about, but if they've cooled themselves down enough, you never know. And then it's just nice and quiet. Few sounds from the red-billed buffalo weavers that are not far from us. There's a beautiful breeze that's starting to come through. And then just behind me, we can't really see, we've got a fork-tailed drongo that's alarm calling slightly. I have a feeling it's possibly from a snake, but it's very difficult sort of behind this marula tree and in the thicket. So I'm just keeping an eye on there every now and then just to see what is happening, and maybe we get a view of whatever is disturbing that fork-tailed drongo. He keeps flying in and out of those thickets there. Yes, so well, that has been our afternoon thus far. Tristan's Tingana sighting is absolutely fantastic, and Scott's beautiful elephants on foot. I'm really hoping that James manages to get some shots of those elephants at Chitwa Dam with the rover. And then Jamie and Taylor and Brent also having amazing sightings up in the Mara. I think from here, what we're probably going to do is head a little bit more west and start checking the mud pans. With heat of the day like we're having now, it's always better to check sort of water sources or mud pans, because anything large should be going down there to cool off, and then anything feline-like might possibly be resting in the shadows not far off. So I think we will carry on and do that. Those thickneys were lovely. And see what we can find.
Now Scott's still with his Ellies on foot, so while I'm busy searching around, let's head back to him and see what he can show us.
Yes, we are still with this herd of, well, at least 2 elephant bulls. The third one, we're not too sure. We haven't seen it for a while, and it had moved off further away. But there's 2 of them that are busy snacking on a large fruited bush willow. And I always find it fascinating watching the elephants' feeding behavior and how it changes over the different times of the year. They don't always feed on the same plants. They're quite fussy, actually, and will specifically seek out the tastiest, most nutritious plants at the various times of the year. Something that I'm really looking forward to in the coming weeks and months is when the marula fruits start to ripen. It's one of the elephants' favorite food, and it's always wonderful fun that allows us to get you guys some great visuals of them rushing up to the trees in order to seek out those tasty fruits. Now, we're not planning on going anywhere. We're going to stick with these 2 big old bulls and send you across to Brent, who's got a jackal right up close.
Look at this. We've got an inquisitive little sub-adult jackal. There was a den around here, but now the pups are a bit older. He's come right up to inspect us in the car. He's probably about not even 2 meters from the front of the vehicle. He's coming to have a look. Where are you off to? Where are you off to? Hello, I see you too. He's just popping his head up. I can just see him over the bonnet, but I'm afraid I don't think you can. What you doing, little one? I can't see whether it's a male or a female yet. What are you doing? You're very curious. Yes, you are. We're coming back to the left, Craig. Not popping out? I can't see now. I can't. There, you can just sort of, there we go, through the windscreen. This is very cool. This is not often we get jackal. Quite often they'll jog away from the road, but I think because it's a young one, it's just a little bit curious. There it goes. When we first spotted it, it looked like it was hunting for rodents in the grass, then abandoned the rodents when we stopped and came to have a look at us. Now, of course, they will not only eat rodents, but they'll eat grasshoppers and other insects as well. But they do like a good bit of meat. Melanie says jackals are absolutely beautiful. Indeed they are, Melanie. Look, there we go. See those ears? Oh, what's it got? Grasshopper or something. Whatever it was a very small snack that went down very quickly. And see how they just disappear into the longer grass. Wow, that was really, really wonderful. A lovely jackal sighting, and we don't often get them that close to the vehicle, so it's always quite special. Now, something else that's very special, and particularly when you're on foot, is the world's tallest land mammal.
You know, one of the most special things to do in the bush on foot is to spend time with the world's tallest mammal. Makes you feel so small and insignificant. There is a female common giraffe. Let's see if we can get into a nice place so that we can see her some more. I know this is the first time that I'm seeing you during the safari, and for those who don't know me, my name is Stefan Tabur, and that there is a giraffe that is probably around about 13 feet off the ground or so. She's not the tallest giraffe that we get out here. Males are a good this much taller than what she is. Can you believe it? And they will be able to stand as tall as an elephant does and feed at the top of the trees. So let's go forward past here a little bit. See if we can see her. You know, you just got to keep your eyes open when you're marching through the bush after animals. You get yourself focused on a giraffe and you end up tripping over an elephant or a lion. And now, I'm going to show you how easy it is to lose one of the largest land mammals ever to walk the earth as well. Okay. There in the distance, she's walking away from us. She's actually going to some water. There's a dam that is just a little bit past there, and I think if we've got a little bit of patience, we might actually be able to see her drink, which will be very, very special. Now, that's probably a good 10 minutes walk away or so, about a mile in front, but the way that she's walking is definitely into the area of that water, so absolutely stay tuned and you might get to see a giraffe drinking. And they do it in a very special way because giraffes' heads are so far away from their bodies, and their heart is so big to pump the blood all the way to the top of their head that you can imagine if they took that head and they put it down, what would happen to the blood pressure in the top of the head. And they basically even out the pressure as much as what they can, and that's what I'm hoping to show you when we get to the water. So we're going to discreetly follow this lady, and we're going to send you over to James in the meantime while we do.
There we have our elephants now in the water having a swim. They're having a marvellous time. I'd quite like to be having a swim with them, I think. Ian Fergus is agreeing. Now, unfortunately, Ronald is insufficiently functional today to be able to following elephants, and we did follow them for a little while, but unfortunately his vision froze somewhat. I think he has a migraine or something, and so we followed them in the normal car. The other thing that we have here, right, we are just going to do a quick Facebook Live, everybody. Stand by. Hello everybody who's just joined us. We're coming to you live out of the Sabi Sands in South Africa. My name is James Henry. Fergus is on camera, and those are a mighty group of elephants who have come down in the heat of the African afternoon for a swim and a drink. Let's go a little bit closer along towards them. Please send us any questions or comments that you might have about elephants or Africa or anything else that you might be seeing here. It's just a magnificent sight here on a hot summer's afternoon here on the southern tip of the great African continent. As I say, we're in the Sabi Sands, and this particular place is called the Chitwa Waterhole, part of the greater Kruger National Park. And I would say that it was probably about 33 degrees Celsius here today, pushing around about 85 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit or so. And these elephants will come down almost every day in the summertime to have a swim and a little bit of a drink. And the youngsters, as is exactly the same in our own species, are the ones that like to swim the most. Hello Kamal, all the way from India. Lovely to hear from you. Thank you for getting hold of us. Remember, you can ask any questions you'd like to. Oh, just at the far end of this little group of elephants is a young bull chasing a goose and some goslings. They seem to have escaped unscathed, which is a relief. Now sometimes they will go into the water and have a swim for a lengthy period, and other times the matriarch, who is the leader of the herd, will tell them, no, we just stopped here for a quick nutritious drink and then we'll head off. And hello Jack, all the way from Ireland. I bet it's a lot warmer here than it is where you happen to be watching this broadcast, and how wonderful that you can, well, get a taste of summer from wherever you're experiencing the Northern Hemisphere's winter. Oh, and Juju Drop, you say you love elephants and my accent. Well, that is very kind of you, Juju Drop. I'm not sure about the elephants and their appreciation of it, but I deeply appreciate the fact that you like your accent. My accent, many don't. The young bulls having a little bit of a fight. Now, Christopher Hugo, you're wondering about volunteering opportunities with us. We don't have any volunteering opportunities at this stage, Christopher, but there are lots of them in Africa, and I would just caution you to find out all of the background, because some of them masquerade as sort of, well, slave labor camps, really. You know, they'll get you to come and work and pay you for the privilege and not actually do any good conservation-wise. But there are some very good organizations. Well, that's interesting, Violet. You say they look smaller than the elephants you've seen. Violet, you say they're all babies. They're not, but there are a lot of youngsters in this herd, and even the big matriarch, who we saw earlier, I'm not sure if we got a good clear picture of her now. That's probably her up front. I wouldn't put her beyond 25 years. There you can see another large, those are the two biggest in front, and I wouldn't put her beyond 25 years old. So yes, let's say that there is a large group of youngsters here, but the elephants here are some of the biggest in the world. Alright, thank you for those of you who joined us on our social media broadcast. Marvellous stuff. We're going to continue at wildsafarilive.com if you want to keep on watching us. Otherwise, if anything else transpires here at the Chitwa Waterhole, we will go live again on social media. Alright, everybody, I'm wondering if we shouldn't go... Should we go down there, Ferg, or get a view of them from the side? Go down here. Straight or back? Back. Yeah, let's go down. I just want to see if we can get a nicer view of them from the side, everyone, because it will be a very long shot from the top of the wall. Okay, while we see if we can find another position, let's head back across to Scott, who of course is on foot with the elephants, which is just the best experience.
It certainly is, and I feel hugely privileged to be able to take you guys on a bushwalk with these two majestic elephant bulls. It's an absolute treat, and my heart hasn't stopped racing since the moment we started spending time with them. The wind is still heavily in our favor. You can see the ash getting blown straight back away from the elephants, and as you can see from their behavior, they are absolutely oblivious to our presence. Sadly, we don't have the frontal view we were hoping for, but who knows, maybe this big bull will turn around and show us his magnificent ivory. For now, though, we're just going to sit and wait patiently for them to do that. Hi, Wade. You would like to know what is the animal that I would at least want to bump into on foot here, and it's probably the Cape buffalo or a breeding herd of elephants. Those are the two most likely killers of us humans here in Africa. It's not so much the predators, that's a misconception the world over. I don't know why everyone thinks it's the lions and the leopards that want to kill us and eat us. They don't. It's animals that feel threatened by us that want to kill us, and it's often these herbivores that do feel threatened. Elephant bulls can be a little bit more forgiving to us as humans. I guess it's because they don't have that matriarchal desire to look after their young, who they obviously travel with within those breeding herds. Cape buffalo, it's the men that are the problem, so the opposite to the elephants. The big herds of female buffaloes and their youngsters can be quite inquisitive and probably feel safety in numbers, but it's the big old cantankerous bulls that can cause us a lot of hardship if we get into the wrong spot with them. Thankfully, though, Wade, wild animals are not the most aggressive beasts. It's us humans that are, and we fight far more than any other animals. Usually in the wild, animals will have argumentative debates, posturing to settle differences. If not, yes, from time to time they will fight with one another, but they don't like violence much, and it's only a matter of last resort when they feel that they really are under threat that they will attack us. And most guides that you speak to who've spent many, many hours on foot in Africa have yet to have to use a rifle to dispatch an animal or have any major trouble with them. Good stuff. We're going to continue to linger with these big boys and send you back to James with that herd of swimming elephants.
Yes, we do have this herd of stunning elephants, and they are, of course, still swimming. And they're just having the most wonderful time. Gorgeous green colours juxtaposed with their dark grey. I'm actually not in the car right now. I'm just trying to find something that we can show you under the microscope. Isn't this special? Wonderful, peaceful Monday afternoon. Much more peaceful than 99% of people's Monday afternoons, I imagine. That was an interesting comment from the viewer on our Facebook broadcast who said that she thought they looked smaller. It's definitely a large group of kind of youths, so a sort of youthful breeding herd, I suppose. And it begs the question as where the older ones have gone. Why are they not with older ones? What causes these herds to split up? And I'm not actually sure of the answer. Now, Vian, you're just 10 years old and you're wondering if a crocodile can catch an elephant in the water. The answer, Vian, is no. A crocodile cannot catch an elephant in the water unless it was the biggest crocodile in the world and the elephant was the smallest elephant in the world. It would be almost impossible for something the size of a crocodile to catch something the size of an enormous elephant. And so they're perfectly safe over there. Now, for those of you who are interested as the elephants move away, as I said, I wasn't actually in the car. What I have here is a very special device constructed by our friends in the technical department, Jared and Conrad specifically, who have worked tirelessly to try and make this thing what it is. And it's our old friend the microscope, but it is now a mobile thing. So while I can't find anything particularly fascinating to look at here other than a dragonfly, which I'd probably have to kill. Well, here's a beetle. Wait, there's a beetle here. Let's do the beetle. Now, there's a beetle in there. Now there you can see a black thing. That is the beetle running away from me, of course. Okay, let's cut away from the beetle back to me, and I will try and find something slightly more static. There we go. You saw it move there. That was an ant. Okay, I think come back to me. I'll try and find something slightly more static. Okay, well, here we go. We've got some uric acid, fascinating stuff, on a piece of Egyptian goose dung. There we go. Now, is this not just too special for words? That we are now able to move, courtesy of Conrad and Jared and Alex and Peter, we are now able to view things in the bush at this detail with the mobile microscope. I think it's marvellous. That white stuff, uric acid, of course, because birds and reptiles are unable to go to the loo separately. They must go to the loo at once with all waste products. So that's what's going on there. Then I think what I will try and do now is capture an ant. So if you come back to me, I will capture the ant, because what we don't want to do is take this away, of course, because then you will become ill as I move it around. Alright, let's see if I've managed to capture it. I mean, this is every child naturalist's dream. No, I'm afraid it's got away from me. Anyway, you're still following me around in my hand. What have you got, Fergus?
You are behind the steering wheel.
I am behind the steering wheel. Right, thank you. That was a good, well spotted there, Fergus. I'll tell you what we can do. What we have here is an antlion's hole. Let's see what that looks like. Oh. That is the antlion's pit. Now what I want to see if he starts to kick sand back out again, because I've pushed a bit in like an ant might. This one is not a particularly cooperative fellow. Oh well, that was exciting, wasn't it? Good. Alright, no problem. Come back to me and I shall keep searching for interesting things to put with the microscope. Something slightly less mobile I feel would be the best option. No elephants around. Okay. While I try and find something here, it sounds like Jamie has got another swimming creature, but it ain't got legs.
Well, actually, technically it does. Well, it has residual stumps, but this is a really, really very special find, something that I think all of us have been dying to show you while we've been in the Mara. Taylor managed with the crowned cranes fighting one off, but this is a python. A python hanging out at the salt lick in the water. So that's the python's head. It was right next to us as we drove past. I was wondering why the birds had all sort of gathered around and were making such a fuss. But, unfortunately, it was feeling a little bit shy, and it immediately, as we drove up, it immediately moved further into this little stream. That is so cool. We've been dying to show you a python. It's not the biggest python I've ever seen, but it was fairly sizable. Joey, how long would you have said that was? Two? I would have said 2. 2 meters or so. Maybe a little bit longer. I mean, it's still young, it's still got a great deal of growing to do. But it's one of the biggest pythons I've seen, or it's the only python I've seen here. And one of the biggest pythons. Oh, that is so cool. And I'm hoping maybe if we sit patiently, we saw its body sliding through the water. I'm hoping maybe if we sit patiently, we might see it move slightly. Awesome! Willie, you say this is your first time that you've seen a python. Well, as I said, it's the first one I've seen in the Mara, so I'm very, very excited. And that is really interesting to see just how much time they spend in water here, because I think every time one of us has seen or heard about a python, it's been in the water, somewhere around here. Now, there's one apparently that lives near the Tanzanian border, a massive, massive individual. Can you see its eye there? It is its eye. That is so cool. Wendy, yes, all snakes are at home in the water. They can all swim. Not all of them, obviously some of them prefer to do it more than others. And something like a python does like to spend a lot of time in water. I wish you'd come out, Mr. or Mrs. There you can see its tongue coming out. Testing the sense of the air. Transferring the scent molecules to its organ of Jacobson. Now, a very, very powerful snake, not a venomous snake at all, but still can be quite dangerous. Now, they've got a jaw, rather than having sort of 2 fangs that they use to bite their prey, they've actually got a jaw full of fixed teeth, and they're very, very sharp. And what they do is they strike and they grab their prey, and then obviously from there they are a constrictor, so they wrap themselves around it. Okay, right, we're going to settle here, maybe wait and see if this python decides to come out. I think it might be too shy, but speaking of animals being shy, it sounds like Scott back in South Africa has got some elephants who are not feeling all that shy this evening.
Hello everyone, this is the moment we've been waiting for. Now, he's just changed directions, which doesn't suit us perfectly, but if we keep dead still, he probably won't see us. So we mustn't move a muscle, and he could well continue to just walk straight past us. How cool is this? Out in the open, we're probably about 25 meters away from him at the moment, and he is completely oblivious to our presence here. Is he going to go and try and snack on the fruits from this marula tree? Please do it. Reach your trunk up and try and pull some down. Come on. He's going to do it. Yes. How cool is this? So even though the marula fruits aren't quite ripe yet, the ellies have started feeding on them. And it'll be a few more weeks, possibly another month or so, until the fruits are perfectly ripe. And who knows, maybe it's not even the fruits he's after here. Maybe he's happy with the leaves. Now, we mustn't forget that there are another 2 elephant bulls. They are also coming out into frame. And again, as long as we just keep as still as possible, it's highly unlikely that they will detect us. How cool is this? You can see the third, slightly smaller bull has joined the 2 larger ones, so it's all 3 of them back together now. And what I always find fascinating with these animals is that they can communicate silently. So even though one was completely out of sight of the others, he has managed to relocate the other members of his herd. Just try and keep dead still here, Dave. Obviously it's difficult to keep dead still and continue to film them, but he's doing a great job. And our patience has paid off. Now we're going to have to be very patient here. We're not going to be able to move a muscle until they've moved further away from us. We are quite exposed where we are at the moment, but like I say, the wind is in our favor, and I don't think they are going to pick us up, even though they are so close to us.